Well, hello there, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Two Sons Podcast. I am your co-host, Philip, and in today's episode, we're doing something a little bit different today. Me and my brother, we did have plans on recording a 50th episode special as the combined episodes that we've done together. Because we've done solo episodes by ourselves before, but combined episodes where it was me and him in the same discussion, we just hit the 50th episode mark. So we were gonna do like a nice little celebration and just have a good old time, just like talking about the podcast and what it has meant to us, and go into some more stuff. Unfortunately, we were supposed to record tonight. I don't know if we still are. It might be pushed back later this week. Unfortunately, my brother is not feeling very well. He has a terrible migraine and he's just not feeling very well. And he is super excited to bring you guys this episode together. However, he wants to make sure he's in the best of health and spirits. So when we finally do the episode, it's a good old time, and we have a lot of fun doing it. So because I was expecting to record tonight and I have some free time on my hands, I thought I would sit down and just have a general conversation with you guys. The last episode that I did with more as like a personal one-on-one conversation was my Star Wars story, a video, which is actually the highest rated on this channel. It has like over 50 views. So it seems like you guys liked when I got a little personal and I let you into my life and just who I am. And in that situation, it was right around May the 4th, and then Star Wars Celebration was going on. So we talked about or I talked about what Star Wars has meant to me and how it's impacted my life, and my journey to just finding out about it to being obsessed with it. Obviously, as you guys can see everywhere, and then on my arm over here. It's just one of my most beloved franchises. I really do love it, and it's always going to be a huge part of my life. But unfortunately, we're not here to talk about Star Wars. We are here to talk about Two Sons Podcast, and specifically what Two Sons Podcast means for me. Now, like I said, me and my brother plan on doing a 50th episode special. So we'll go into more detail about what it has meant for the both of us. You'll hear my brother's side of the story, and you'll hear a little bit of my side of the story. Um, but you know what? I thought that just as I did the Star Wars story video, I thought, what better way than to maybe give you my own personal take on it, as I wasn't sure how much detail I was going to go into the episode, and maybe allow myself to get a little more emotional and personal in a little video, and then be a little more laid back in the video that we're supposed to record together. Um, so I thought, like I said, I'd take the opportunity to simply just talk to you guys about what Two Sons Podcast has meant for me, and how it has impacted my life over these last 2 years, and just honestly what it has meant for me as a whole. So this is probably gonna be a shorter episode, perfect for YouTube. I will send it to my brother, so it might be available as a audio podcast as well. There's not really much to look at, honestly, when it comes to visual wise. You're just watching me, speak to the camera and just express my thoughts. So before we dive into the conversation, I just wanted to shout us out. You could find this on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Two Sons Podcast. That has been O, not a U, because we are two brothers. I also want to announce, I was going to announce it in our 50th episode, and I'll probably still announce it anyway in that video, but I will announce you guys, dear viewers, that as you know, we've been running a YouTube channel, and it has been known as Two Sons. It is obviously associated with the podcast. We decided to give you guys a visual aspect to our conversations besides just the audio. However, I was doing some thinking, and because we've been doing this podcast for almost about 2 years, and YouTube is fairly new, I wanted to rebrand, and I took inspiration from one of our most beloved franchises, which is Star Wars, and I came up with the concept of rebranding the YouTube from Two Sons to Jabba's Lounge. Now when you think of places in Star Wars, you think, oh, where do people go to, unwind and relax? Maybe it's Mos Eisley Cantina. Maybe it's the local dive bar in the Coruscant underworld where they try to sell you death sticks, or maybe it's a certain Huttese lovely hangout spot where everybody is welcome. All walks of life. There's always great music, there's great food, and sometimes there's a little bit of a show. and that happens at Jabba's Palace. So I took inspiration from the man himself, and I rebranded the Two Sons YouTube into Jabba's Lounge. So it is obviously still part of Two Sons Podcast. It will always be a part of Two Sons Podcast. But because I usually handle all the YouTube stuff, I decided, you know what, I'll make it a little bit easier on my brother, and you know, I'll let him focus on the audio podcast versions. You know, taking care of Spotify, podcasters, Apple Podcasts, all of that, and having him, you know, maintain the Two Sons Podcast brand. And you know, I wanted to branch out and give us a new image on YouTube because you know just because we're Two Sons Podcast, we don't have to have the same name on every single one of our platforms. So I wanted to rebrand it a little bit in my own image. Like I said, it's gonna be the exact same thing. You know, it's gonna be videos of me and my brother talking and discussing, you know, all different movie topics. You know, it is still gonna be Two Sons Podcast. You know, but if you're looking for that visual content, you're gonna be coming to Java's Lounge instead of Two Sons. So you know, to follow up that news, you know, besides on YouTube, I have also created a official TikTok and an official Instagram for the YouTube. So if any of you have been following me on my personal TikTok account, I would usually take screenshots of both the audio and the visual podcast and just post it, you know, let people know that it was out and it was reviewing. You know, and I got a couple hundred views, you know, every now and then people seem to, you know, really enjoy it and, you know, show us some interest. So I decided, you know, instead of doing that, you know, I'm just going to create my own Instagram and my own TikTok to go along side by side, you know, with the YouTube channel, you know, just like how my brother does the same thing with Twitter and Instagram and Facebook for Two Sons Podcast. So both the Instagram and the TikTok are going to be, you know, Java's Lounge. I believe the Instagram is Java's underscore lounge. And then I think the TikTok is simply just Java's Lounge. I will put it in the video description on here, and then you know I will also shout it out when I post it on the social medias, so you guys can find those you know at your leisure. You know, but if you guys want you know more updates and notifications, you know not only about the podcast but about the YouTube, you can find me there. So you can find me on Instagram and on TikTok at Java's Lounge, and like I said, you can find me on YouTube also at Java's Lounge. So I'm really, you know, looking forward to seeing how you guys like the new image. You know, if any of you say anything, you know, leave some comments. You know, let me know if it's a, you know, a cool concept. You know, if you guys miss the old Two Sons, you know, but if you like the Java's Lounge and you know you like the idea behind it, you know, I would love to hear that as well. But that is my plan going forward. So I probably will announce it again in our 50th episode. But you know, because you guys are getting an episode early, I decided to just, you know, tell you guys tell you guys a little early. So you guys got like the sneak peek into what I was going to announce for our 50th episode. But you know, without further ado, you know, now that I shouted out the socials and everything, you know, I'm doing okay. You know, it's been a pretty slow week to be honest. You know, work has been pretty good. I still have off from school, so you know, I'm trying to relax and just take it easy, you know, until I go back in the fall. Um, you know, I could be a little bit better. You know, there are some things that are on my mind, you know, that are making me anxious or a little bit stressed, to be honest. But you know, I'm working through it, you know, and I'm doing what I can, and you know, just taking every day as it comes. So I hope whoever's listening, you know, everybody else is doing okay, and then you know they're being safe, and I hope you know you guys have been enjoying the content so far. You guys seem to love our Disney animation versus live action episode, which I really appreciate. I mean, I think we're up to like 22, 23 views on there, which is great. So thank you guys, you know, once again for all the love and support. You know, we really appreciate it. You know, we're trying to do our best. You know, I'll go into a little bit more detail in a couple minutes, but you know, this podcast has really meant a lot to us. And you know, it just means a lot that you guys come out and support us, you know, every week or, you know, whenever we get a chance to record. You know, so I really, and again, you know, the quality might not be great, you know, whether it's visual or audio, but you know, we do the best we can with what we got, and you know, we really appreciate anybody coming out and just you know supporting us and giving us you know a like, you know, a comment, you know, even a subscribe. So you know, thank you guys. It means a lot. And you know, now we can get into the rest of the episode. So, like I said, you know, today is just you know my little own personal story about you know what Two Sons podcast means for me. How has it you know impacted me over the years, and you know, what do I think the future holds? So, for starters, you know, the idea of Two Sons podcast kind of came out on a whim. If anything, you know, the big brains behind the you know occupation, really, to be honest, is my brother. I remember, I looked, our first episode was September 7th, 2021. So, like I said, this September is going to be over 2 years since we've been doing this podcast. And, I'm sure that that day we'll try to do like a, 2 year anniversary type of episode. Um, but he was the one that came to me with the idea. He's been listening to a lot of different podcasts, that basically talk about the same thing. They talk about pop culture, media and news, spanning from Star Wars, Marvel, DC, Disney, et cetera, et cetera. And he was like, man, this is a really cool concept. He's like, I wish me and you could just do something like this where we just, because I mean, we talk about it all the time off camera. I mean, as you guys know, me and my brother are super close. So we're constantly talking about this stuff off camera, So I mean, you guys only see like a fraction of it, to be honest. But he was like, what if we do an episode, what if we do something like this where, instead of just talking to ourselves about it, we could put it out on the internet and see if anybody wants to listen, and if anybody's interested. So, we decided to do that. And it was a long process. I mean, my brother will probably tell you more with our 50th episode, but he constantly had tons of notebooks and different ideas, and he came up with like all different types of names and concepts for the podcast, what we were going to call it, what was the logo going to be, how do we get started, all the early conversations about like, how to get established on Spotify and how to upload a video and everything. And then what should we call it? What do we talk about? How do we, speak to people? And a couple of months of planning went into it, to be honest. And then the rest is history. We released that first episode. My brother did the first couple of episodes by himself. And we did that first episode, just telling you guys a little bit about us and what, the podcast is and, what to come back and look for. And, since, since then it's grown, we're here 2 years later. Um, so it's really been a journey. And obviously it's been a pleasure and a privilege to be on this journey, not only with my brother, but you guys as well. Um, and for me, Two Sons podcast means everything. Me and my brother, obviously, are total nerds. We love everything from Star Wars to Marvel to Disney, and the list goes on and on. It took us a while to embrace, who we are, be proud of our, nerdiness and because obviously when we were growing up, whether you're in like elementary or middle school, even in high school, being a nerd, and liking anime and Star Wars and all that stuff, wasn't really shined upon. You were called like a dork or a geek or, a nerd or whatever. And, most of my friends didn't really even know, or friends, didn't really even know what I liked, outside of school. I mean, besides just playing soccer with them, that was pretty much it. I didn't really let them too much into like, my personal life and what I liked, because I was afraid that they were going to call me a nerd or a loser. And, I already was shy and had trouble making friends anyway. So I, didn't want to risk losing any. Um, and then obviously as the times went on and, these genres became more popular, we felt more comfortable just being accepted of who I am, and then now, whether we go to school or we go to work or just out in public, people are constantly complimenting like, our backpacks or, accessories, shirts, clothing, even tattoos. I mean, I had this wonderful interaction with this family while I was at work this morning, and they really loved my Attack on Titan tattoo on my arm. Like they were like gushing over it, and like I became so flustered because I had no idea how to react, and it always just makes me feel so good that I have this on my body. This is something that I'm passionate about and that I love, and people accept it and they recognize it, and they compliment it, and that's the biggest takeaway that I could really give is to how far it's came from when I was a kid, to now like in my early 20s. But moving to more of a deeper level, Two Sons podcast is everything for me. As you know, me and my brother are very close. From when we were born, to when we were little kids, all the things that we've been through in our life, physically, emotionally. We've always been there for each other. We've always been there to pick each other up. Um, he's my absolute best friend um, in the whole entire world, and I don't know what I would do without him, to be honest. He's really been there for me, more times than I can count. He's really been my rock when I needed him to help me feel grounded. He's been a shoulder to cry on, if I had something to, bitch or complain about. And, he's really been there for me when it mattered. And when times were rough and I felt like there was no way out, he was there, and he was the light at the end of the tunnel. And he's what made me think differently and see things differently. And at the end of the day, I mean, I'm just so thankful to have a brother like him that will pick me up and um, support me when I'm down, and just go through life with. I mean, that I couldn't ask for not only a amazing brother, but an amazing best friend as well. So whenever you listen to this, Joey, or you see this, just know that I love you, and I'm just how appreciative of I am of you, and it really means a lot that you're in my life. So thank you. Um, but 2 years ago, in 2021, I recently made a move down to Florida. So after I finished my undergraduate degree in history at the State University of Old Westbury, which is in New York, I was looking to pursue something for a master's degree, and I had more of a liberty or freedom to pursue something out of state, than I did for my bachelor's. Because with my bachelor's, I was kind of like forced to stay in New York, so I didn't really have much option as to like where I went for school. However, with my master's, it was a little bit of a different story. And I was able to explore like different states and different programs and whatever. And I decided on Florida. My grandparents moved down here to retire 2 years prior. So everything just kind of fell into place. Like they say the stars aligned, and I got accepted into a program down here, and I am happily attending the University of South Florida, and currently living with my grandparents. And this upcoming August, in about like 7 days, is gonna be like my 2 year anniversary down here. So obviously that was the biggest thing. Definitely leaving my best friend, leaving my brother, was a big blow. And then in some days, even though it's been 2 years, it hits harder, on some days than other days. I don't have that constant person to hang out with, to go and bug and annoy and just, see what they're doing in their room. So it's been an adjustment. Thankfully, I've met people, that I've worked with, or that I'm currently working with that, I consider friends, and, I could talk to, and, they feel somewhat of of a decent sized hole. And then of course I have family down here, and I've met people that, become like family to me. But nothing is ever gonna fill the shoes or the hole of, my brother and everything. And obviously we probably miss each other every day. I don't want to speak for him, but I'm sure we miss each other every day, especially when it gets stressful and it gets tough, and we just don't really have anybody to rely on physically. We wish we were probably there for each other, in the flesh. Um, so, if anything, Two Sons podcast actually came off the ground after I moved down to Florida. So if anything, Two Sons podcast has been a way for me and my brother to stay connected, and to continue to enjoy and love the content that we constantly talked about, in person. Whether we were going to see movies together, we were just talking about it in passing. We went to the mall, we went to a convention, whatever. Excuse me. It allows us, to stay in touch, to stay connected, and to build new memories with each other. And then just constantly keep that bond, very strong and very secure. And like I said, I mean, I will always be thankful for Two Sons podcast. I mean, if we weren't doing the podcast, we'd probably still be as close as ever. But thanks to Two Sons podcast, we were able to share what we love with not only each other, but with you guys. And in only 2 years, we have like about 27 followers on Spotify. We only have 26 subscribers on YouTube. But at the end of the day, we didn't even think we were going to get like more than 10 people at least. So the fact that, not only do we have people listening in multiple countries around the world, but we also have 27 people that are, following Spotify, and they're following our channel, and they're getting updated when videos come out, and they're listening to when videos come out. And same thing with YouTube. We got people subscribed to our YouTube when they come back, and then they can see our YouTube video. And whether you guys watch it for 5, 10 minutes, or you watch it the whole way through, I mean, we didn't think we'd be doing something like this. I mean, we're not rock stars. We're not super popular, pop culture guys, on TikTok or social media. We're not going to red carpet premieres or movie, night events. But it just means a whole lot. When we see the feedback from you guys, when we see the comments, when we see that somebody has liked our videos, they subscribe to us, they follow us, they comment to us, on social media, like every now and then, I see on the Instagram post that you guys like comment to my brother and you voice your opinions. And it's great to be able to have that interaction with you guys. And it makes, doing the Two Sons podcast one of the things that I really love. Um, and I mean, just besides constantly keeping us like together and keeping us strong and connected, Two Sons podcast has also made me feel a little bit comfortable about myself. When I moved down here, I feel like I didn't really know what to do. I mean, like I had like these like preconceived notions that I was gonna follow. Like when I came down here, like I was gonna go to school, I was gonna do this differently, and then I was gonna, do friends differently and relationships. And I feel like I had everything kind of planned out, and I was like, okay, I need to have this done by a certain time. I need to have this done by a certain time. And honestly, 2 years later, I probably have three people that I can call like really good friends. No relationship, still single. Um, and I've been rethinking my life lately. I mean, I don't rethink the choice of coming down to Florida because I still think it's one of the best choices that I made for myself. But what I'm going to school for, is it worth it? Is it really what I want to pursue? I've been through a couple of jobs. Thankfully I found a job that I really enjoy and I love, and it makes getting up every day just so much more worth it. I still have loving family, not only in person down here in Florida, but back in up in New York, who I love and miss. Um, so, Two Sons podcast, has allowed me to really branch out and get more comfortable with who I am. I stopped trying to reinvent myself. I try to stay grounded, be thankful for who I am, what I have in life, and just not be afraid to be who I am. I mean, look, there's nothing wrong with me being a anime, Star Wars, Marvel loving pop culture nerd. That's just who I am. If anybody doesn't like it, they could leave. I'm not telling them to stay. Um, but it's just doing this, speaking in front of a camera, speaking to the audience. I know in the episodes I might say, a lot, or I might say or and part of it is because I'm still nervous, about doing this after 2 years. Like I said, this is not something I expected myself ever doing. I hate public speaking, especially getting up in front of a crowd and speaking. So, I'm constantly trying to catch myself, and trying to figure out the words to say. So, I apologize if you guys tune in every week and you're like, oh, this fucking guy, you can't speak for shit. Just know that I really do try. And if I'm known as the guy, then oh well, just like how, there's a podcast where somebody's known as the hat guy, I'm the guy. So it really means a lot that you guys have, came along for the journey and you find our content enjoyable. And to those of you that are listening, we know some of you are family, and obviously you're going to support us no matter what. So just thank you guys from the bottom of our hearts. Obviously, you're going to support whatever we do because we're family, but it does really mean a lot. You might not think that your support means anything, but it is really nice when you guys tell us that you enjoy our episodes, or you enjoy the conversation and put a smile on your face. It helped you drive to work or listen to something on your lunch break. Especially our mom, she's a huge supporter of the podcast. So I mean, mom, I just want to thank you for always being there for us and really helping us out. And you were probably one of our earliest fans, so we always appreciate the support. And it always makes me smile when you say you guys you listen to our podcast or you listen to it at work or whatever, and you enjoyed it. I mean, I know we're your sons and you're going to enjoy it no matter what, but it's nice to hear you say that. So thank you. And then there's also a couple of friends that we know. So whether it's my brother or myself, there's a few people that I probably know. There's actually, one that I know that I'm super close with down here. So you know who you are, as I'm saying this. So just thank you for honestly just being amazing and just actually listening to our podcast. We don't ask anybody to, if anybody wants to check us out, they're more than welcome. But at the end of the day, if you check it out and it's not for you, then it's totally understandable. But every now and then, she'll message me stuff about the podcast or things that I said or whatever. So I really appreciate your support. Thank you so much. It really means a lot. Um, and so besides the family and friends, like I said, we're always thankful for your guys' support. Thank you so much for really encouraging us. Everybody else out there, there's probably a half a dozen of you, maybe even 2 dozen of you, that we do not know. You are complete strangers. So if you're listening to this, thank you from the bottom of my heart, and thank you for the bottom of my brother's heart, for just coming along for the journey. For giving us a follow, giving us a subscribe on Spotify or YouTube, and just making this podcast worth doing. To all of our viewers internationally, I don't know the list off the top of my head. I apologize, but to any of our viewers, in North America, South America, Europe, Africa, Asia, wherever you are, Australia, wherever you are in the world, just to let you know that I might not know who you are personally. I don't know you, but thank you so much for including us in your everyday listening or watching material, and just humbly entertaining these 2 Americans talk about everything pop culture, and everything related to it. So thank you so much, from everybody across the world. I love you guys. It's just so cool to see the different statistics and see that we have people listening in other countries. So just thank you so much. It really means the world. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I mean, just to wrap up at least this part, just finally, like I have been saying, to the family, friends, and people we do not know, for joining us in this podcast. Thank you so much. It really means the world to us. It always puts a smile on our days. Or, like I said, we hear something. My brother will be like, "Oh my God, we have a new country on the list," or "Oh, somebody commented," or somebody answered our poll. It really means a lot, and we wouldn't be able to do this without you guys. So thank you so much, for supporting us, over the last 2 years, and joining us on our crazy conversations. Honestly, moving forward, I hope me and my brother could continue, putting out good episodes for you guys on Two Sons podcast. With everything going on with the writer and the acting strikes, there might not be too much to report. But I will still be putting out solo episodes regardless. I'm sure my brother will too. And obviously you'll have the two of us, if when our, Two Son podcast episodes come out. So I can tell you now, we are definitely not going anywhere. Um, you know, I hope to make it to 100 episodes. I mean, I think that would be really cool. And honestly, I would love to keep doing this for as long as I can. If we've been doing this for the next 3 years and we still have the same number of listeners or subscribers, you know what? So be it. I mean, that means that you guys have stuck around for even longer and listened to all of our rants, for 2.5 hours. Um, so I really do have a high hope for this podcast in the future. It might not be as structured or as routine, as we get older and things start to impact our lives. And then obviously there are going to be those busier parts in our life, where we just cannot record, and we want to put out content for you guys every week, but it's just sometimes it's just so hard. Um, so we thank you guys for always being so patient, being so understanding, because everybody knows that people have lives, and things come up, and you might plan to record one day, and the next thing you know, you're rescheduling like 2 or 3 times. So just thank you guys for all your patience and your understanding. It really means a lot. And the fact that you guys keep coming back for the videos is just, the icing on the cake, really. Um, so, like I said, thank you guys so much. I really have high hopes, for this podcast in the future. I'm sure my brother will say the same thing. I don't want to ramble on for too long. I feel like I've kind of said my piece, and I've gave you a little bit of a personal, intake of what Two Sons podcast really means to me. And I'm excited for you guys to finally see our 50th episode. When me and my brother release it, and like I said, you can hear his side of the story. What Two Sons podcast means for him, and we got a pretty interesting episode in store. So I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. So before I, shoot myself in the foot and keep rambling on, I'm gonna end it here. So like I said, I'll just shout out the socials one more time. You can check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Two Sons Podcast. That is with an O, not a U, because we are two brothers. You could check out the YouTube channel Java's Lounge on YouTube, of course, and then also Instagram and TikTok at Java's Lounge. This video will be published and ready to premiere tomorrow morning. So expect this guy to come out Wednesday, probably around like 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Like I said, I will, send the audio portion to my brother. I'm not sure when he'll update it, but just keep that notification bell on, and whenever you get the alert on your podcasting platforms, please just give it a listen. Thank you guys so much for coming out to this little episode again. I hope you guys enjoy these little personal episodes where we kind of give you like a deep dive into our lives and kind of what happens behind the scenes. Um, like I said, I mean, it's just honestly been a huge pleasure, to speak to all of you guys, to really interact with you guys. And honestly, we want Two Sons Podcast to be a safe space. I'm a very big advocate for men's mental health and just mental health in general. So if Two Sons Podcast could provide you that escape, provide you that sense of security, and warmth, then it really means the world if some of you think like that. To anybody out there that is struggling with mental health and awareness, please talk to somebody, talk to the people that you love, or hit us up in the comments. I mean, don't be afraid to comment to us on YouTube or, send us a DM on the Instagrams, Twitter, Facebook, whatever. If you guys are going through something, because we've both been there. Um, but if we can make this podcast your safe space, everybody of all shapes and sizes, walks of life are welcome. So if you need that escape, please, follow Two Sons Podcast, follow Java's Lounge, and together, let's make some memories together. Let's laugh, let's smile, let's bicker, over pointless stuff, because that's just who we are. We're just one big happy family. So thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart. It really means a lot. I can go on and on just praising you guys, but I think you guys have gotten the point. So like I said, just please be on the lookout for our 50th episode when we record. Whether you guys are listening to this in the morning, afternoon, evening, please have a good, happy, healthy, and safe day. When you do listen to this, please do not do anything stupid. Stay hydrated. Be good. Peace and love, and we will catch all of you in the next one. Goodbye for now.